This is Tamron 28 to 300mm f4 to f7.1 III VC VXD. This is a newish lens available for Sony-E mount right now only, and it is kind of special. That focal range 28 to 300mm is not new. This is not new innovation. Pretty much all brands had one in the past, but currently for Sony-E this is the only option with that focal range. 28 to 300mm, it gives you a lot of reach, a lot of coverage. 28 is almost wide and 300mm is really decent telephoto. But there is big but is the changeable aperture of this lens. Minimum aperture of f4 at 28mm, and as soon as you start zooming in, that aperture will start closing down all the way to f7.1. It is a daytime lens. It means that you need more light to use it successfully, but it is a stabilized lens. It is a lens designed for any current mirrorless Sony camera where high ISO values are more manageable. And a quick disclaimer, I have this lens on loan from Tamron UK, but I was not paid or asked to say anything specific about it. Everything you hear and see in this video is my own honest and biased opinion about this lens. So is this lens worth buying? How does it perform? Performance wise, it is classic Tamron. This is standard Tamron. The quality is actually very good. Sharpness throughout the focal range is outstanding. The color and contrast is good. That range really makes it so more usable in more different shooting scenarios. Pretty much everything from landscape, architecture to portrait and more. It is a very versatile, very practical lens, but that changeable aperture could be a deal breaker for many people. For me personally, I have used it on Sony A7 IV. It wasn't a big deal, but I haven't shot pretty much anything in low light or at night. Daytime wise, walkabout lens, it did very well. I had no problems. I never noticed, oh, I'm shooting at f7 really. Also, so many people right now is chasing that cinematic or professional look with a blurred background, bokeh. Yes, it is fully zoomed in to 300mm, it's only f7.1, but you still get really nice subject to background separation due to zoom compression. Zoom compression, in simple terms, is basically closer you are to your subject and more you zoom in, more perspective it gets squashed. So the background behind your subject, even though it might be far away, it will seem much closer to your subject and more blurred. Zoom compression. So this lens has got bags of that. It's not prime lens performance when it comes to subject to background separation, but it is still decent. Also, the apertures will affect your shutter speed. So on paper, this lens is actually very good for sports, but fast-moving subjects, you will need faster shutter speeds, and the smaller apertures might not always allow you to crank that shutter speed up. Generally speaking, a very good practical, versatile lens, but best if you use it in the daytime and you will have no issues with it. What's really surprising that at wide end, at 28mm, there is quite a bit of chromatic aberration, the purple fringing visible. For filming with it, it's a Tamron, it's a current modern Tamron. There's no issues with autofocusing, eye tracking or acquiring focus in video. Same problem here with a changeable aperture. As soon as you zoom in, the picture is gonna get darker. So unless you're using auto ISO, there'll be visible change in brightness when you zoom in while filming with it. But I think that changeable aperture is actually overshadowed by how small this lens is for what it is, and also how versatile that 28 to 300mm zoom is. Good thing for the lens in this class and in this size as well is that there is vibration correction. I think that's what is VC built in. It is optically stabilized. The vibration reduction will give you a lot of correction while hand shooting photos or video. It is working very well in here, and combined with a camera which has got an IBIS built in, yeah, you can achieve really good results with it. It is classic Tamron, tough, very tough, hard plastic, and it looks pretty slick. The lens extends quite a bit when zooming in from 28 to 300 meters. It's a 10.7 times zoom, so as expected, it extends a little bit. Nice add-on, there is a zoom lock. You basically, when you switch this on, the lens won't extend by accident. So when you got it in a camera bag and you want to grab it and pull it out, it won't extend by accident. Nice. There's one focus hold button. This can be programmed to different functions via the camera or via free Tamron utility software. There is USB-C socket on the barrel of the lens, and that allows you to connect the lens to the computer and change quite a few parameters and update the firmware as well via the computer. It is fully weather sealed lens and it weighs only 610 grams. Pretty decent weight for a lens with that kind of zoom range. Very wide zoom ring, which extends the lens obviously. There's some plastic on plastic rubbing, rather standard. There's a very narrow manual focusing ring. It's a little bit loose, but okay. Filter thread is 67mm, standard for majority of Tamron zoom lenses right now. And it's a well-built, good-looking lens. Price and value for money. It's not a dirt cheap lens, but you do get a lot of lens for your money. £829 here in UK or $899 in US. Yes, it's not wide aperture, fast prime or fast zoom in this case, but yes, as I said before, this range overshadows that changeable aperture, not so wide aperture here. It is a very versatile lens and it could be one lens for everything. Pretty good value for money in my opinion. Conclusion, this is something special. Although on paper it doesn't seem that great, but the optical quality, optical performance is very good for every day, especially daytime. A lens for everyday usage for everything. It does very well. This is ideal lens for landscape, architecture, travel, portraits, and so much more. Sports and wildlife, even if the day is bright enough and you can get the shutter speeds fast enough. It is okay priced. It's not very expensive, but you do get 28 to 300mm for the standard zoom lens price. For me, what makes it a winner is the fact that it is very practical. I could shoot with this professionally if I had to. I wouldn't have a problem. I don't really do low light or nighttime photography, but for everything else, this lens can do extremely well, and I do recommend it. And this is it from me. I hope this very short review was in some way helpful or informative. If it was, please give me the thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.